Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. The world of Instagram.
It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30. It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
And the battery's running out on the light, so I'll change that before we get going. Otherwise, I'll be plunged into darkness at some point. We don't want that, do we?
No.
Let's get Jamie in whilst I change the battery.
Hello.
Jamie? Why are you covering the screen?
The outside.
Are you outside, Jamie?
No, it's too cold.
You in the
Something's covering your camera.
I'm going outside because it's too cold. I've got a cold head.
Have you got a new hat, maybe?
Ta-da!
Hey!
Ta-da! Look at that!
What I gave to you.
Look at that! I am properly in the gang now.
George should have his on.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I forgot to put mine on.
You'd have messed your hair up there.
Yeah, I would have messed my hair.
Oh yeah,
And I
George.
don't want to get
George is all
styled.
worried about his hair being posh these days.
I wasn't really bothered back when I was.
Easy, Jenny.
You'll have a hot head now.
I know that.
You'll
What?
have a hot head.
I won't have it on long. That'll be off in a minute. It's hot already. George, where
Yeah.
was you at the weekend?
Oh, is it yours?
Yeah, you were.
Short trip over to Norfolk.
Off over the border.
Hop over the border. Had a fun time in Jamie's garden.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Feeding his horses grass.
You were playing with the horses, and looking at the allotment, driving the motorhome.
I wasn't driving it.
Well, you were pretending to.
Well, I was pretending to drive it, but I wasn't actually.
No, you would have liked to. Yeah, it was good. We've done some plant swapping.
Yep. I've got some loofahs.
Jamie, I've already ate my
Did you
egg.
eat
Well,
it?
not all of it, but half of it.
That should have been for Easter Sunday.
That's what I said.
We were never allowed to eat our Easter eggs until
Well, we
Easter
were watching
Sunday.
Paddington in Peru.
That was the rule. When I was a kid, no chocolate eggs until Easter Sunday.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, you'll have to get some more then, George.
But we'll let you off.
When it was my mum, technically not me.
We'll blame you, Mum. Sounds like a good
I
idea.
recognise that bark.
Oh, it's Dash.
That'll be Dash, because Dash also came to see Jamie.
He
and he
did.
barked at Jamie's horses. And Jamie, to
He
start
barked at everything.
Jamie, he was literally barking at everything.
He was. See,
What, that's
even
the-
Joe said. Right, get one from the Easter Bunny on Easter Sunday. Okay. We'll let you off
talking
then.
of the Easter Bunny,
Yeah.
talking of the Easter Bunny, I helped the one that came to school on last Friday.
Did you? What did you help with?
Giving out the eggs. to
Giving
rest
out
of
the
school
eggs, yeah.
Children.
Oh, lovely. Very nice.
I wasn't just from my own though. I had my. That sounds like Dash. My mum just said that sounds like Dash.
Yeah. It was
It
Dash.
was Dash's mum.
What did we
Dash.
remember to do this week, George?
Remember to get a
Good.
garden fact.
I was just about to ask that. That was my next question. We'll let you off. Come on in.
Go on, George, with your garden fact.
A teaspoon of soil contains more organisms than people on Earth.
How can that be possible?
I know.
They must be so tiny then, mustn't they?
We'll read that bit as well. That's the next explaining point.
This isn't.
So 1
1
gram
gram
of
of
soil.
soil can contain
Several
billion
bacteria
from thousands of different species.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Why did
Crazy.
you take the out?
Because it's hot already.
He's inside.
Indoors, the
Go
heating's on.
outside then. We're nice and cool.
Yeah, it's nearly time to be outside.
I know.
You
I
can't
know.
be
Next
much more.
week. Next week, I
Next
promise.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't be on next week.
No, the week after you will be.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Go get in the bath.
See you, George.
See you later. Get out of my potting shed.
Okay, bye.
You take the
dog.
Take the dog the ball. Stop barking at me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I didn't know whether, before we get our guest in, quickly, you wanted to see what I got from Baker Creek Seeds this week.
Oh, go on then. You said you'd put in an order for your squash.
Squash Blue Hubbard.
Ooh, that's an odd-looking thing. That's a bit odd.
Squash Lady Godiva.
Ooh, stripy. Is that big? That looks fairly
That is
small.
quite a small one, yeah. I've got some 5 coloured silver beet Swiss chard.
Ooh.
They look a bit different than the normal rainbow chard. I've got a honey nut squash, almost
Honey nuts.
yeah, almost butternut, but honey nuts. I'm guessing they're sweeter.
Maybe a bit melony.
See, I don't even. This looks a bit French. I can't even say it. Musquis de Maroc.
Oh. Oh, yeah, that's odd. Lime green bubbles.
And I also got some beans. Autumn zebra.
Nice.
1,500-year-old cave beans.
That packet looks fairly new.
Yeah. Some lima beans, Christmas ones.
Very good.
And this, it's 2 more. Squash Little Gem. That's a little diddy one.
Oh, they're cute. They're almost black.
Yeah, they are black. I think it's a deep black and blue colour. And this one is a squash dark green Yuxi Zhang Bingung.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
That's funky. That looks hard to chop up or peel.
Oh yeah, this is quite a good skin on
and
there.
then scoop it out.
Yeah. So that was my Baker Creek order this week.
Very good.
There was a lot more on it, but then I forgot when I got to go to the checkout bit. You can only have 10 per order because it's in America. And I thought, oh bugger! So I had to take some more.
Are you going to put in another order?
I can't remember what the delivery is. I don't think the delivery is massive amounts, but I might do. But it's
How did Catherine get all of her snake beans last year? Because she was buying the whole
because
store
she
out.
kept buying 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. That's the only way to do it. As soon as you put your address in with UK, that goes whoop, and that takes off because you get freebies. If you buy more than 10, it puts freebies on there, and that takes them off as well. Oh, bugger. Never mind.
Discrimination against the British.
Have you been doing what? Have you been doing at home today?
No, I've been at work.
Oh, I saw some. You've been doing some gardening at home.
No, that was last night.
Oh.
I actually did some gardening after work last night.
Oh, bloody hell.
Which is the first time this year. And the only reason I stopped is because the football was on, so I could have done more.
I've had a delivery of plant grow today, so I can start topping my no-dig beds up, putting a couple of inches on, and get ready to go.
Nice. Lots of wheelbarrowing.
Yeah, but I don't mind because it's not heavy, is it? That's the thing.
No.
That's different.
Well, I mean, that wheelbarrow I've got works 200 litres, and you can push that all the way down my garden without too much hassle.
Yeah, it's not like pushing topsoil around everywhere.
You definitely wouldn't have 200 litres of topsoil. That's
No way. That's really heavy. Really, really heavy.
Let me just get the dog's ball out again. He's being a pain.
Oh dear.
He's posted his ball underneath my potting bench.
Dash. Dash, you're being a pain. Dash.
And he's had a walk and he's been played with all day. He's not been left on his own all day like he usually does when they're at school or at work and stuff. He should be tired, but
He's obviously not.
we are going to be joined this evening by someone who is trying to make a metre count.
Oh, yeah.
There are a multiple award-winning garden designer. You may have seen her on BBC Your Garden Made Perfect. She has also designed and worked on more than 40 show gardens at various garden shows.
Wow.
And at last year's BBC Gardeners World Live, her show garden contained lots of my favourite things, which are
I don't think I
pallets.
could say. Oh, I was going to say. I can't say what the other favourite things are on a live.
What have you been told? It is, of course, Pip Probert. Let's get her in.
Hello. Look,
Hey.
works.
Yay! It's quite good for me because I'm not very good at this.
I was going to say, you just said to me a little while ago, I'm not very good at social media. Perfect. Work first time.
Well, it's nice to speak to you both.
Yeah, you too. So this is the second night because you was on with Lexi last night.
I know.
wasn't it?
I'm
I
popular
didn't
this
realise.
week.
Yeah, very busy.
Nice in a row.
Yeah.
Everyone will be sick to death of me by Wednesday.
No, you got any more lined up for the rest of the week?
No.
How are you doing then?
Good, thank you. It's the season's kicked off with a bit of a bang, so I'm kind of being dragged along and trying to keep up. Yeah.
It has kind of boom started, hasn't it? Come to straight in.
You know, I thought it was a bit of a long, miserable winter this year, but then all of a sudden, sorry, Nancy wants to join in.
We're used to that.
Dogs are allowed; they're everywhere.
Sorry, I'll kick her out if she continues. But yeah, it was a long winter, and it I don't know, it just seemed to go on for ages. But then all of a sudden, all the kind of show entries start kicking in, and so you get invited to apply for things or get asked to design things, and then it just went mad. And I haven't really looked back then since about the 5th of January.
Oh, it kicked off a bit earlier than my season did then.
You know, I think I've done every weekend and late nights and early starts since then, to be fair. It's been, yeah, busy so far.
Brilliant. Best way, I think.
Yeah.
It needs to be busy.
Definitely.
So I think normally with our guests, we like to say, let's start at the beginning. Where did any kind of love of gardening come from?
Oh, well, you know, my folks love gardening, so the family in general are always outside. But it was probably more through drawing plants and landscapes. So my mum and dad loved going to National Trust properties, which me and my brother didn't love it so much, going into the houses and all that side of it. Like, but we loved being outside and running around and, you know, being outside. And my dad's always been one for taking lots of photographs, and as much as we were always laughing at him at the time or moaning that we had to carry the different lenses, I actually really enjoyed drawing all the pictures when I got home. So I suppose it was the arty side that then diverted me to the garden design, really.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not just Nash.
No, she's, I think because she looks like I'm sitting here doing nothing, just talking to the screen.
Give me some attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Play. Yeah, it's a door was open, my two would be up here with me. So we've all got the same things, all right?
You know, I gave her the option to kind of stay out of the office, but everyone's on holiday, so she's kind of a bit fed up and wants to be with me, but gets fed up with me very quickly.
So you drew or you draw or paint, do you? Pictures of what flowers
Yeah,
and plants?
yeah. It's probably I'm not very good at faces and things like that, but the flowers and the plants and landscaping, you know, landscapes in general, that's what I enjoyed the most. And so from there, like I had a GCSE project that was to create an imaginary jungle. But about 3/4 of the way through, I realised that actually mine was like a perennial border. It was basically fuchsias and lilies and all these things. And so that kind of kicked that off. I'm just kicking the dog out. And and then it went to like my design technology projects. They were kind of design a piece of furniture. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do a piece of garden furniture. But instead of just doing all the documents for that, I kind of I went to the age concerned place, and I took a site survey, and I did a garden design, I did a planting plan, and all this stuff. Oh yeah, and then this very insignificant piece of garden furniture in the background that that was the main project. And I think I just kind of went into it from that way, and I thought the best thing I could be would be a landscape architect, and so that was what I was aiming for. But after a year, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. I loved my course and I loved the projects and everything. But the work we were getting was things like, you know, a sports centre fits 4 netball courts and a tennis court and a football pitch and all that into the space, and how to design the car park. And then the other side of the coin was things like sculpture parks, and everyone else was kind of like, oh, a swathe of 3 acres of oak on that side and 2 acres of carpenus on this side. And I was like, oh, crocosmia and alchemilla and all these little things. And made this like really tiny kind of intimate area within this massive landscape. And after the first 12 months, I was like, you know what, I'm definitely thinking about this in the wrong way. It's not, I'm trying to work on big, massive plots, whereas what I want is to have smaller, intimate family spaces and to create something specifically for somebody. And you know, everybody at school, everybody wants to be a graphic designer. Everybody, the whole year wanted to do graphic design. And I was like, the person that designed the packaging for the Tipex pen or the fish fingers, I was like, or I could do gardens, and this would be something that people absolutely live for, and it's so important to them, and it means a lot, and they spend their lives in it, and no one else really got it. They were like, ugh, you know, gardens, but actually it's a really amazing job.
Yeah. So you
Interesting that
changed.
you got there early.
Yeah,
Because I think people go somewhere else first and then come into garden design, whereas you've gone straight from school.
Yeah, straight from school. And so I did a year on the landscape architecture course, and you know, all parents love it when their kid phones home and says, you know, you've spent all that money on me, well, I want to come home. And it was very much like my mum was kind of, oh no, you've worked so hard and it's all you wanted, it's all you could see getting there, and you've just not given it long enough. And I was in Edinburgh, and I'm based in Liverpool, so my dad was like, I'll be there in 4 hours, be packed and ready, and we're coming straight home.
Yeah, see, the dad will come get his little girl, of course he will.
So, but you know, to be fair, my promise to them was, I'm not leaving because I want to come home and do nothing, or I don't know what I want to do. I know that this is not right. I didn't learn about a single plant in that 12 months. And, you know, that's what I wanted. So I instantly the next day signed up to a garden design course at the Welsh College of Horticulture. And then that was that.
Brilliant. So what is that course called? Can you remember? Because I've looked. I would love to get into it. I'm thinking I'm a bit too far gone for it now, but I've looked at courses and there's so many different
I
ones.
don't know if they do it anymore, to be honest, because it was the Welsh College of Horticulture and now it's Glamorgan, but I'm not actually sure whether they still run it. It was Garden Design, but they had everything from like HNDs through to what do you call it?
Degrees.
Yeah, yeah, that one. It's a long time ago. yeah. So they did everything there, and it was all very, very much horticultural based. But they also did equine and floristry, and like most of the horticultural colleges do, and it was great. I loved it, but that kicked me off on the whole show thing, and then that was it. Then never looked back after that.
Brilliant. So going from starting your new course, how many years was that?
Well, I probably shouldn't really admit this, should I? But I did 3 years, or two to 3 years. I can't actually remember. And then I didn't end up taking it all the way because I went to Tatton Park and I built a show garden. And so I passed my first section of it, which is like the HND, the diploma, and all that kind of, all those letters. And I missed my graduation for that because I was at press day. And that was very much followed by one sentence, which was, yes, I'm coming back every year. And when I went back in the September, they were like, well, there's no point. I was like, well, there's a lot left to learn. And they were like, well, why don't you try taking these extra courses for a bit, and and I was setting up the business anyway, and all these things were happening. And then I, in the meantime, did another show garden and I got a gold. So they basically told me to stop coming back because it was embarrassing that when they introduced everyone at the beginning, I was like, yes, I'm a gold medal winning garden designer. So they were like, maybe you should just focus on the moving forward bit. So I did, really. And I still don't get me wrong, I still feel like I'm learning, definitely. And I love teaching my courses because I learn a lot from the students that I'm teaching as well. A huge amount. And then again, doing all these events, it's impossible not to learn. Everybody goes about things in a different way, or they use different materials, or there's just so many things. I go to the shows and I just absorb it all, and I just think it's an amazing position to be in, to be surrounded by all these people that are brilliant at what they do, passionate, want to do the best and showcase the best, and you're not copying, but you're being inspired constantly. It's brilliant.
That's what being inspired is, isn't it? You're taking that idea away and not, like I say, not necessarily copying it, but if you want to, you do it in your own garden or on your own.
That's it.
Anywhere, don't you?
And it is. It's like I was saying this, that my folks would like to update their garden, and they have got. If you ask my mum, she tells everyone it's a show medal winning garden. But what she means is all the stuff came from shows. And they're ready for a change. But they were like, oh, do you remember that one you did? And it's actually one I did for the TV. And they were like, well, I did it. But as it happens, myself and Helen, we were very similar in what we do. We don't see each other's, but by fluke, we were very similar. But Helen was going on holiday the next day. So I was like, I'll redo mine and I'll do different shapes. And so this other one got kind of pushed to the side, but because they'd seen it, they were like, we would like that. So, it's been the inspiration for what I've created for them moving forward. So nothing's wasted.
Just skipping back a little bit. So your first couple of Tattons and your first couple of gardens, I would imagine normally people go to college, go out and get a job with another landscaper, do a bit of designing, go and work, actually build the gardens, then maybe go on their own, do a bit of work on their own, make some customers, and then go and do a show.
Yeah, that's the plan. That was the plan. That was the plan. So I was like, right, what? I visited the shows. as a day out, like many people do. And then towards the back end of my course, they did a project where everybody had the opportunity to design a show garden, and it had funding, but it, everybody, I can't remember how many were on the course, but there were a fair few. So everyone was going to submit something to the guidelines of a show garden at Town Park. And I properly went to town on this. I had everything. I had like a water feature that would hit the underside of a glass deck that had multicolored lights, and all it, and the back had TV screens, and it was all sensory panels, and it, what it wasn't going to have, it's going to be amazing. But when I look at it now, I've got the model, I've got everything.
Oh wow!
But I mean, they wouldn't have been able to afford the TV screens, let alone everything else. So I didn't win, but a winner was chosen, and we started the process, and everyone had their little job, and organisation started, and the funds were pulled. Sadly, the sponsor pulled out. As what happens in real life, every single show for many people, and so I kind of couldn't leave it there. So I wrote to the RHS and said, I would be interested in the future of being a designer of a show garden, and I don't know what's needed. What is it? Qualifications? Is it so many years experience? What do I need to tick the boxes to be able to come along? And it was like a letter, probably a generic letter. Thank you for your inquiry. We enclose an application form. Blah 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 blah. So I was like, okay, they're never going to pick me. So what I'll do is I'll just do it. I'll just design it. I'll just submit it, and they're going to say thank you, but on this occasion it's a no, because, and I'll have all these bullet points of things that I can learn from and move forward with, going forward. And I was adamant that was what was going to happen. I've been designing for everybody and you. Anyone who would let me into their garden, I was doing free designs for, just to have the experience. Yeah, it was just another one of those. And a couple of weeks later, I got this like handwritten letter basically saying, congratulations, we're awarding you a plot. So I'm like, nah, what? No, it can't be. So I phoned them up and I was like, really? I wasn't listening to a single word he was saying. I was like, oh my God. So I'm going, yes, of course. Oh my God, yes. Came home and I was like, oh, so I told them I would think about it. And obviously I wanted to discuss it with everybody else first. But luckily, I was only 19. Luckily, my family are like the most supportive family you could ever meet. Everybody who visits these shows knows my family because they're always there. And so luckily they were just like, well, you probably definitely want to do it, so when do we start? So
brilliant.
we just did with a couple of credit cards, and people from the local rugby club were giving me anything in sponsorship they could give, 50 quid, 100 quid.
Brilliant.
There's logos everywhere on the leaflet. It was like a blooming jigsaw of logos, and me and my dad did most of it on our own. My mum fed everybody at the RHS in return for favours, and and that was it really. That kicked it off, and it was a back-to-back 4x6, and in my head it was still, I'm going to go now with this bronze medal, which I was mega chuffed with.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get a job, and this will give me, if this is the first bit of experience on my CV, it's going to be great. And that night, I think the night before I got my bronze, we were laying the turf in the dying headlights of the hire van. Very much behind schedule. And I don't know, something just clicked, and I was like, I had my leaflets there, but I didn't have anything printed on them, just a plant list and my name and a picture of the garden and all the logos, and that was it. And I think when we came in the next morning, got the bronze, and on the way home we stopped in at Asda and we bought a shed load of cheapo t-shirts, iron-on sticker badge things, and I'd already had an idea of, because being arsey, I was always doodling bloody logos and things, and we drew it onto the computer and printed it out, ironed them all on, and I spent the night writing my mobile number and an email address onto 3,000 leaflets.
Oh, God.
And that was it. The next day we were out of spaces at the show, and I'm like, yes, oh yes, call me, yes, I won't film available next week, yes. That was it.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, a bit mad.
Haven't looked back.
So you must probably still been
Mad.
the the youngest person to win a medal at an RHS show.
I don't know.
Must
I doubt
have.
it. These days, you've got wonderful things like the world skills, and none of that was there when I was there. And to be honest, we always joke because Bob Sweet, who was top of the I can't remember top of the train at the time and looked after all the shows. A couple of years in, they brought in the Young Designer competition, and I didn't realise. So I'm there with my show garden, and I'm thinking, oh, there's quite a few young ones this year. That's brilliant. And then they said, will you come to the photo shoot? And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I turn up where everyone is, and I'm like, there's quite a lot of young ones here, and we sat there, all these boys and me, and I was like, what's this for? And they went, Young Designer. And I went, what's that?
Oh no.
They were like, it's the competition for under I can't remember, under 23 or something like that. And I was like, oh, when did that start? They were like, did we not invite you?
Oh no.
I went, no. So that was the cut-off in the age. So they put it up a couple of years, and I submitted for it the year after, and I didn't get it. I didn't get chosen. So just to spite them, I put it in as a show garden and did it anyway. Not to spite them, that's nasty. I don't really like that. But I wanted to do it, so I thought I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, like Mark said on his fabulous introduction, you've had involvement in 40 show gardens.
Yeah, I'm up to 43 at the moment, and then I've got 7 shows this year. So I'll be at 50 I bloody feel over 50, believe me.
Wow.
But,
People get stressed at 1 and you're doing 7.
They do.
Do you know, it's not, I don't see it like that. I can't wait to get there. And I'd never say no. I know that if somebody rung me now and said that there's some sort of an emergency somewhere, I'd somehow fill the slot. I don't know how, but I would do my best.
Wow.
Just love it. I think you either get shows or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I presume by now you've got your preferred suppliers, your preferred, your team, your people you will always call on, and they're all, them all individually now, so that you know how they work and everything.
Well, things have changed for me and developed, and then I've finally plucked up the courage to make changes as well. And so I was just me when I started, and I used a couple of contractors, and that was unusual at the time, because unusual for me because I was young and female, still am, and and sometimes the guys were a bit tried to convince me that things took longer or needed more people or were going to cost more or needed to be done a certain way. And so the way I got around that was, okay, well, if I don't know, I need to know. Yeah. These are things I need to know. So therefore, don't pay that little young lad from wherever, the labourer. Yeah. I will do it. And so I was there, and I would do everything and make a mix or carry paving stones, whatever I could do. But I was there for the customer. I was learning and taking it all in, and seeing how in reality you can't build that like that, or that needs to be done first. And I learnt loads from that. So from there, I then started to run the jobs myself. And then the guys would either sub in or work for me. And then I think at the busiest time, I probably had 3 teams. And so we were always working on like three to four jobs at any one go.
Sorry, Pip. So we are now talking about you. This is designing people's gardens. These are not show gardens now. This.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. I do other things as well. You see.
Just thinking.
I don't know how you have time.
Neither do I. Yeah, sorry. This is real.
Yeah.
The show gardens were kind of in the background because obviously I need to live, and I didn't want it. I always imagined it would be like, Monday the 1st of January, you turn up at Mrs. Jones and 3 weeks on that job, and then you go next door and you got Mrs. Smith and you're on that one for 3 weeks. The shows were kind of unexpected, but that as soon as I got just a sniff, I just love it. And do you know what I think I love the most? It's the people. I like being a part of something that's bigger than just me on my own in my office. I feel like I'm part of the industry, and that it's weird because at the beginning people didn't listen to me or didn't fully believe me, and I did. I don't count these as show gardens, but I did loads of other shows as well, where I'd have a stand and have all my drawings on the wall and photographs and things like grand designs, home building, renovating, concept for living, all these things. And I just was talking to people all the time to get work in, and I don't think they didn't believe me, but a lot of the time it would be, well, these aren't all yours. I was like, well, yeah, they are. But they didn't really believe me, and I think because I just looked young. So, but I was just doing everything I could to get that experience. And so then, then you end up with people that you've got to feed. And so I had these 3 teams, and I was churning that. I churn out the designs quite quickly. So they'd always have 12 months minimum work ahead of them because I was doing so many that, the people were waiting in the queue. But after 20 years, the bit that, I'll be very honest, the bit that created a bit of stress for me was the customers on the build jobs, because I'm sure lots of people would want to disagree with me, but I do my best for people, and the last thing I would ever want is for anyone to not be happy. And in construction, there are so many variables where things can possibly, I'll say, go wrong. A lot of the time it's not going wrong, but sometimes you get people complaining because the delivery's not there. Well, I haven't charged them for extra time. I've given them a set price. So that's something that's not affecting them in any way, but I would get a lot of complaint from that. And I'm like, well, the delivery wagon broke down. It's not our wagon, but and it was little things like that, or problems that were not associated with the build or the garden, but they needed somebody to blame, and I would get that because I was at the top of the list. And so in the end, something had to give, and I just thought, for my own health, I suppose, sanity, the builds were the thing. And it was a really hard decision, but I decided, no, I'm gonna close the business, and I'm going to be just me. And now I'm doing all the things that I've always done, but I have got less stress because now I'm still working with the same teams of guys that work for me, but I pass on the work to them now, and I'm there. I'm there for the client, and I'm there whenever the client or the boys need me, but in the background. Sorry, I do talk too much.
No, it's fine. I know exactly what you mean. I'm an electrician, and over the last 25 years, I've had up to 15 blokes work for me, and now it's just me. I just gone right down to me. I don't want no stress, no hassle. Go and do my day, and that's it.
It's much easier, isn't it? It's not. It wasn't the boys that created stress. It wasn't that. And most of the customers were lovely. It was just, I think COVID changed people's mentalities as well. and all of a sudden people were used to getting a bit more for less, and so they expected a lot. You know, you are going to clean the gutters, aren't you? And I'm like, well, no, because we're the landscapers. We don't clean gutters. And it'd be like, oh, it's dripping on my new patio, and I'd be like, oh, it's not really for me to clean the gutters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a decision had to be made, and it was hard to make that decision and let everybody, you know, I felt like I was letting the boys down because we worked together so long and things, but it just becomes a different relationship. It's not, you know, everyone still is working on my designs and things. It's not, it hasn't let anyone down, but at the time you feel like you are, but actually, you know, a month down the line, it was definitely the best decision.
Yeah. So the customers still come to you and say, I want my garden designed. You draw it and then go give it to the contractor and say, there you go.
Yeah.
Make
so
that
I work with various contractors, and so sometimes it's based on area, or it might be on the particular skills required for that particular design. You know, if there's a lot of decking in it, you might have a team that's better with that. I've got a team that's, you know, really, really good on groundwork. So if it's quite complicated, there's certain ones where there you go to. But, you know, many clients like to have more than one quote because it's not a cheap thing.
No.
So it's good to have the people available to pass the work to, and then they can do their thing.
Exactly. Wow. So where did Garden Made Perfect come into all this? At what point was that? So let me just get it clear. So that's the show, the TV program with the VR goggles.
Everyone does that. Yeah, it's I think through everyone that's involved in the shows does, well, you know, hopes for a couple of seconds on whatever TV program, a program about Chelsea or Tatton, or might be the local news, or having the weather on it, anything like that. And I've been lucky to be on various different programs, whether it be just the garden or a bit about me, or, you know, lots of different things. And so you get to know the teams at the BBC. And I believe that somebody that had worked on one of those programs, when they were looking for someone, there was a bit of a description of who they were looking for, and my name popped up. But it did make me laugh because they were like, oh yeah, we're looking for someone that's I've forgotten now what it was. I think it had to be a female that was happy and smiley and a little bit mad and northern. So yeah, so that was me. I think I was the last one to come in, to be honest. I think they had a fairly southern team,
right?
And then I'm not sure whether somebody maybe pulled out or something couldn't, you know, they couldn't be a part of it, so they were looking for somebody, and that's when I came in, and it happened so fast. I just got a very random email saying, you know, your name's been thrown into the hat, we'd like to interview you, you know, would you be available for a Zoom meeting? So I was like, oh yeah, when? And they were like, yeah, in about 10-15 minutes. And I was like, it's the middle of COVID. I hadn't washed my hair for a week. I barely got out of my pajamas. I was just working from home. It didn't matter. So I was like, yeah, just say 20 minutes. It's fine. And then literally like 24 hours later, I was booked onto a train down to Southampton for my first job,
Wow.
which I think was the swimming pool one. And yeah, it's such a fast turnaround. It's very you instantly feel like it's been and gone, because even you go down there, you see your client, and you might have half a day with them, and then you've got 24 hours to get your design in, and you have to turn the whole thing round in that time. Yeah, and you get you know, another kind of, maybe if you're lucky, another 24 hours to do your planting plan and stuff. But it was very fast because the VR takes so long, and it's amazing what they do with VR. It just anyone that does the CAD drawings, I hand draw everything, but everybody's drawings were loaded up and made into the same style image so that everything was fair. And so we had to be quick so that the VR could be created. And so that was quite a learning curve of what happens behind the scenes on these programs.
Yeah. So then that was kind of put to the test. The clients then could choose which one.
Yeah. So it's weird because I had a bit of a theory that if you went first, you got picked because they were so overwhelmed by, especially if they've never done the goggles before, which I hadn't. So when you see it, it's like, but when you see the second one, you're a bit like, because you're kind of expecting something. So it is funny though, because I often joke about this, that when they sent us all the adverts and little promo videos for social media, and everything's embargoed, but you have it on your phone and then you're allowed to release it on the certain days. So, when you're flicking through the pictures and the videos on your phone and they start to play.
Yeah.
If I did it when I was out in the shops or out with friends, it sounded awful because every time I flicked through, they all started with, oh. I was like, this sounds very wrong. But that was the genuine, that's how people reacted. And then quite often they cry.
Sorry.
He's gone.
Oh dear.
But no, it's good fun.
So then if you win, if they chose your garden, are you there to do it?
Yeah, so then you basically run it like you would, because the BBC aren't really involved. It was all, the budget was the budget, and it was true to form. It was not like some of the other programmes where everything's donated and you maybe have £1,000.
Right.
This was very much the client set the budget and they paid.
Wow. So that's their money.
Yeah, it was their money.
Okay.
And I think, so for us, we ran it like a normal job.
Yeah.
But it's very, I think the bit that we all signed up to this programme because we felt that it was very true to form, and we wanted it to show people the real what happens. Because I think a lot of people don't, if you listen to things on social media and on various chat rooms and stuff like this, you can go in and you can say that this garden cost, and you get all the trade going, oh, it was more than that. No way did they do it for that. Yeah. And all the public go, oh, who would pay for that? Who would pay that much money on a garden? And so we're in the middle of this kind of, and one of my prime examples was the last one that I built. I had specified a scaffold deck, and they said they had I think it was 25,000, and by some miracle we got it to 25,000. And it's it's rare for anyone to get it bang on, but we did on this. I was quite proud. I'm thinking there's going to be no backlash for me. Everyone's going to be well impressed. And then we got through half of the build, and I went for the day, and she went, just want to ask you, and I was like, yes. What do you think about composite decking? I went, I think it's amazing. And she went, right. So what? And I said, I also think it's going to be £7,000 more. Yeah. And she was like, oh. And I went, listen, it will last forever, and it is an amazing. I'm all for it. I think it's great that it's reusing recycled materials, and and it is a massive tick. But I said, but your budget was 25,000, and we're at it. So, you seriously need to think about it. So she went and she spoke to the family, and I think her mum and dad said, we want to contribute for the grandkids and everything. So we put down composite decking.
Brilliant.
And I said, when they interview you for the final sequence, and they say, "What did you spend?" You have to say, "I chose to spend more on the composite decking." But no, it came out, "What did you spend?" 32,000. And I was like, no. but you know, it's that is the genuine route that people take. They have a budget. We do our best, but generally people get so excited during the process, you know, that they add on. They do add on. They don't even realise they're adding on. So I'll do the drawings and they'll say, "Well, can we tweak this? Can we change that?" Yeah, that's fine. But they don't really think that they've just extended that and they've made that bigger and they've added on so many meters of paving there. And so when the quote comes in, they're like, "It's a little bit more than we said." And I said, "I know, but we have, well, you have extended this and increased this." And it's very difficult because it's hard to not, you know, you want them to be engrossed in the process, but also it's very hard to not get overexcited.
You must really, really know your stuff to be able to do that garden in 24 hours and have to get on that budget bang on. That must be so ingrained in your head, you know, labour costs, material costs. You must...
You know how you can save on things. I think I also find, you know, I can't say that I'm bang on budget for everyone's job. I'm not, and it's partly for the reasons that I've just said, because things just constantly change. But also, people start off with, "I have this and I'm not going over it," but then, honest to God, give them 3 days and they're like, "Oh, well, can you, whilst you're here, can you do this?" And I'll have those extra set. and you know, it's very much the mentality of, "I'm having it done and I'm having it done once and I want it right." And so people change as they're going along. But I think I try, I was going to say I pride myself, I try to use everyday materials, off the shelf materials, but I try to do something different with them and make them look a little bit different and quirky. And, you know, I try to give them something different, you know, but not with these like £35,000 worth of sculpture and stuff like that, you know, affordable materials.
Yeah, they're usable gardens, aren't they? They're everyday gardens, so they've got to be. Who needs a £35,000 sculpture in their everyday garden?
Well, that's the thing. I couldn't afford it, and so I know that. But I also, I suppose, I come from a long line of DIY kind of people that, you know, my dad, he can. You buy something and somebody thinks, "God, that's cool." Not my dad. My dad would like to take it apart, work out how it's built. And, you know, and that's how he was an electrical engineer, so his brain works like that. And I suppose I've got a bit of that as well, and so I'm always thinking about how, well, actually, if we did it like this, that'll keep the cost down, and that will be, and also it's offering options. So the design that they get, I present them with mood boards, and it might have 3 different methods of how to build that raised planter. And when we're looking at the budget, I can say, "Okay, well, we're actually a little bit under budget, so you could go with this kind of cladding in, you know, gold leaf tiles." But if it isn't, I say, "Well, you know what? We could do it in sleepers, and that would be nice and rustic, and it, you know, you don't need the footings." And all of a sudden they've got these price brackets where they can say, "Well, I'm not going to skimp on the paving, I'm having that." But we can skimp on that. We'll have sleepers, and it hopefully gives them options.
Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, go on, Matt. Sorry, go on.
So, do you mostly do like residential style designs, or are you doing bigger sort of estate designs?
No, not really estate. Mostly residential. I do larger projects, but and I do some big houses, but I wouldn't say kind of not overly, you know, not thousands of acres. You know, not massive. No. I do lots of public spaces as well, like hospitals and quite random things sometimes. Or it might be like a new housing estate, and there might be like a WhatsApp group, and they've got a group of people that like to look after the grounds, and they have these areas, and they asked me to come in and do like communal spaces, things like that. So I get quite a varied range of things, and I think I prefer the smaller projects. I wouldn't say small. Some people would look at them and think they're still quite big. I'm working on a large one at the moment, but in comparison to some that you see online, you know, I would class myself as being like medium to small sizes mostly. But I quite like that because I feel it's more intimate and more. I'm able to give them a fully designed garden rather than a section of the landscape.
Yeah.
I think that's where my skill is better than it could be.
I bet new builds are just I wouldn't say easy, but easier because it's just a square of grass normally.
Blank canvas, yeah.
Yeah.
Get a lot of those. I'm always going to new estates, and once you do one, you end up doing about 7, because you know, as soon as they see the vans come in and people kind of get your details from there. But yeah, it's always funny because you always feel like you're on certain estates for quite a long time.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, really good. So let's go back to the show gardens. Obviously, we can't talk about the whole 40 or 43. Pick one, your favourite. Have you got a favourite, or you know, something throughout the years?
I can't say I've got a favourite, because when I'm building it, I'm so engrossed in the one I'm doing that I have done 2 occasionally at the same show, and that's it's weird because you have to split your time, and sometimes you don't want to because something's happening specifically on one. That's difficult, but I don't know. I suppose.
Right.
God, I really don't know.
What about a standout one then? Something that you've gone that's gone absolutely amazing.
I suppose last year I had 2 that were so different that in my mind that will always, the variety between them will always be something I remember, because I did Gardeners World Live, and that was the viewers. That's the one. I forgot, the viewer's choice. And so I had things I had to incorporate, and it had to be basically completely recycled. And for me, I know I like to try and use materials in different ways, and I do recycle things constantly in real life, but not in a way that you would necessarily be able to tell. So it was an unusual style for me, and not something I do all the time. And I'm not very good with fruit and veg. I openly admit that, because I know the bits I know, but I'm so busy in the season that I don't get the chance to do it myself. So I don't really have as much experience with it. So to build this garden, it was like a grow your own kind of allotment garden made from, am I allowed to swear on these, or is it crap, basically?
I do it all the time, don't worry.
You know, I had a design and I knew what I was aiming for, but I didn't know what I was going to have to build it with. I didn't know whether the stuff that I would find would allow me to create what I had in my mind. So I saved stuff and took it with me, but then the rest of it I kind of had to source there from the skips on site, which actually show garden skips are very, very full of gems, little wonderful treasures. And so, you know, we weren't meant to be judged. It was just meant to be a feature garden. And they said, well, will you? No, don't need to. Yeah, that's the advantage of this one. There's no pressure. And but then you treat it the same anyway. You treat it the same.
Of course you do.
But I love detail, and so I like it that when you're looking at the show garden, that it doesn't look like it's this fresh, wonderful thing that's just been created. I want it to look like it's lived in, and so I love a prop. You know, something to make it feel like someone's just been sat there having a brew before you came along. And I took, oh my God, I rammed the car with stuff. I've got like a store unit, and I save everything that's either left over from things I've had in real life or stuff I've bought for shows. And I took everything from mini mini greenhouses to old sections of hose pipe, and you name it. I took everything and I just rammed it into every gap, under the seats, in the footwells, everything was rammed. I could barely see as I drove down the M6. And I couldn't wait to get it out. And two of us built this garden, myself and my colleague John Mortimer. And we were making everything out of pallets. His fingers were bleeding. I was just so sore. And we did it. We were a couple of days from the end. And I'm going, put a shelf up there and do this, all out of pallets. And he's got one screw in and I'm sticking all the things on the shelf. And he's like, just let me finish. And I'm like, no, it looks so good. Putting everything on. And then normally you have to ram all your tools in the car and get them off site before the press come. But I was like, no, I'm going to hook them all up and put them on the shelves. And all of a sudden this garden came to life, and they came around and they were like, would you let us judge it? And I went, win for a penny and for a pound. Yeah, whatever. And we came away and we got a platinum. And it was amazing. It was just, I couldn't believe it, but I just felt that it was so far from what I would normally do. That it just absolutely made it for me. And they all commented on how they just couldn't believe that I'd brought all this stuff, this detail. They were like, I don't even know, because I've been there a month living in the hotel. So they were like, how do you didn't even go home? And I'm like, I rammed it into that car on day one. And I've been so excited for like 3 weeks to get it all out and put it all in this place. And then it just all happened. But then to go from that to Tatton Park, and I built the My Name's Doddy garden, and with actual landscapes, and that was like the total opposite. Whereas it was really clean cut and everything had been planned. We'd had all the materials for months, all the tartan engraved in the paving, and every detail had been thought of in advance. And again, it was full of them, but total opposite. Yeah. Total opposite. And we just got a clean house of awards on that, and to the point where the neighbours, some of the furniture suppliers on the opposite side of the trackway, they had all these bottles of champagne, and on the last day they don't have any more awards to give out, and they went, it's been proper boring today. Nothing's happened. We're like, yeah, actually we felt a bit quiet today. Because every day something else had been, like the People's Choice and best in category, and all these things had come along, and every time it was a surprise. And it was an amazing year. Brilliant.
I can remember seeing both, but I think I'll go back onto your grid and have a look. There must be some pictures on there somewhere just to refresh my memory.
Yeah, there's pictures everywhere.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, so let's look at what's going on this year then. 7 gardens, did you say?
Well, seven shows.
7 shows.
And it kicks off in about 2 weeks. So first up is Harrogate, and that's a small 5x5, and it's called the British Garden Centre's Butterfly Garden. And British Garden Centres haven't actually done a show garden before, so this is like their first dipping of the toe into the water. And they wanted it to be something. I'm working a lot with Green Fingers as well this year, and they wanted this to be for Green Fingers, so because they're one of their big supporters. And so I went to visit Clare House, which is a local hospice here to where I live, and they were telling me about the different areas and zones for the children. And it's for children with terminal illness, end of life care kind of thing. And they have for the families, which is mostly used after the sad event, and they call it the Butterfly Garden, and it's a quiet place, and it's just basically somewhere to sit and think and look at the flowers and just feel like you're not in the hospice anymore. And so that's what British Garden Centres wants to do. So we have a little it's quite a simple design, to be honest, a little bit more traditional. Yeah, it's a nice basic thing that means a lot. So yeah, that's kicking us off.
I think I saw it. Did they put it out on Instagram not long back?
I
Earlier
put it
today.
out there today
Was it?
because
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'd waited for them. I think they put it out and then I waited a little bit and I've put it out today. But yeah, so that's kicking us off. And then a week later, I'm going to the Spring Fair, and that will be my first Make a Meter Matter, where I'm doing 9 different plots.
Yeah, tell us about Make a Meter Matter.
So Make a Meter Matter is the new campaign for 2025, which is going to weave its way through all the areas of the BBC. So it's going to be on the Gardeners World programme, the magazine, at all of the events, and also on the website as well. So there's various things happening everywhere, but the magazine will have a particular theme each month that they are going to highlight and offer suggestions and ideas. I am then going to take their themes and I will be putting my own spin on it, and I will be creating 9 meters at Spring, 9 meters at Gardeners World Live, and then at Spring it's going to be more, we're still going to have the meters, but they're going to be incorporated into a feature garden.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah. So that's and they want people to be involved. So, you know, they're saying you can go online, you can register, and then to basically make something of your meter, your available meter, and then to take photographs and upload them and basically be involved, because it might not sound like a lot, a meter by a meter, but you know, it's collective. Collectively, we should hopefully be able to make a little bit of a difference to the planet if we all give a meter.
So can you tell us anything, any of the meters that you're doing in your shows?
Yes. So now this is where I start to forget them all. So
There's lots. There's lots.
You know, at Spring, we are focusing mostly on grow your own and edibles. So we are going to have various different plots that showcase different ways of growing fruit and veg, using recycled materials and things from the reclamation yards, and various different container growing as well for people with really small spaces. Then we are going to have a veg plot and a salad bar, and also grow your own mushrooms, which the Cayley brothers are involved in.
Yeah.
And so then when we go to live, I'm going to have 9 again, but I actually think there's probably going to be more than 9 at Spring, because they just keep asking me if I can just, you know, will you do this bit as well, and maybe this bit. But we are having 9 at live. And they are going to have the veg and the salad and the mushrooms again, but in a slightly different arrangement. Then we're going to have a pollinator patch, a hibernation area, a mini pond, alpines and succulents. One more. Oh no, I've forgotten. What's my last one? Oh, composting.
Composting. Oh, brilliant.
Composting. And I'm also building, designing and building the Green Fingers 25th anniversary show garden at that event as well.
Exciting.
So that will be good. Very excited about that.
Mark and I are both Green Fingers ambassadors. So
are you?
Amazing,
oh well, you have to come and see.
Definitely.
I'm really excited. I think so many people. It's such a worthy charity, and of course that's why so many people are involved. But so many people are involved that it just makes it a real pleasure to work on.
Yeah. So that's at live, is it?
That's at live. I've just realised I missed one out. I'm going to Bloom. I better not forget that, because that's coming up. So Bloom is in Dublin.
It's Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's my first time there. Really excited about that, to be honest. It's always different doing a new show, but doing it in another country is it always has its challenges. So it's not knowing where to go for things, but everyone's been brilliant. They're all kind of full of advice and guidance. So I'm quite excited to get there and get started on that. That's also focused around children as well. That's for a fostering agency, Tuzla. And the theme of that is that fostering is for you. And basically their story is that it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, it's you know, anyone can become a carer. So yeah, another nice one to be involved in. And then after, so then that one overlaps Gardener's World. So when I've done Gardener's World, I'm going to Wentworth, and I've got a planted border at Wentworth for British Garden Centres, which is again got a little bit of a link with it's a butterfly border, which again has a nice link to Green Fingers. And then we're off to autumn to do the feature garden for the Maker Me Tomato.
Brilliant.
I think that's everything.
Busy. Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna.
You're not gonna be at home, are you, at all?
No, do you know, that's why I can't really blame the dog for barking at me, because not going to see me much. I know. To be honest, some seasons it's, you know, I don't sleep in the same bed more than 2-3 nights, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So when you're in Dublin, that must be a bit more of a challenge, because you don't know the suppliers, you don't know. I guess you take the team with you to build it.
No.
Do you handpick them over there?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Trying to, because, you know, I'm a guest there, and so I very much want to be part of their show, and so I had a couple of different contractors recommended, and we've decided on Robert Moore, who's building it, who's garden architecture. We're more or less there. I've got a few things to sort, but more or less we're ready to go. And yeah, so everything's coming from there, because also these days it's quite difficult to order things here and send them there. And,
that's good to keep it all local, though, isn't it? That's the same as if you have it here. We do it here, try and keep it local. We do it over there, keep it local.
Well, that's it. And hopefully I'm the only one that's doing a bit of travelling, but, you know, trying to minimise everything and be there when needed, and, you know, stay out of their way when I'm not, which is weird for me, because I'm normally there the entire way through, but it's quite a long build period on this one, and they just simply don't need me, you know, for certain days. So let them get on with it, and then that lets me get on with some of the others as well. So yeah.
So you'll hop backwards and forwards a couple of times, I suppose.
Yeah.
Get setter.
I know. Honest to God, I've barely been anywhere if it's not with work.
Can we? I'm sure I've seen the Green Fingers garden drawing. Can you tell us a bit more about that? 'Cause that's, you know, a lot of people love Green Fingers, like you said.
Yeah. Well, it was to it's a space where the children are very much involved. So we have a nice wide path that's suitable for the wheelchairs of all sizes. It's a ruler path, so it's got a lot of sensory elements, and they have 5 kind of core values, and it's, you're going to have to help me if I forget them, because I'm losing it at the moment. Grow, learn, care, play, and remember. And so we've tried to thank you tried to incorporate all those things. So like I said, we've got our ruler path that guides you in, and then we have like a cozy corner, which is a smaller intimate space where people can go for a bit of quiet time to sit together, maybe have a chat, or just, you know, remember. Then we have the main area, which has a massive big pergola with a beautiful decorated roof, and underneath we have a built-in kitchen and a large sensory wall with a ribbon wall as well. And so there's lots for the children to feel and touch and see. And then we also have vegetable growing and a place for them to do a bit of grow your own. And then we have a sensory path as well, which is kind of for the wheelchairs, so that they get to experience some of the sensory things, even if they can't, you know, necessarily get out of their chairs. But then we also have an area for the more, you have to forgive my terminology, I never know what's the right term, but
that's okay.
The able-bodied children to go and play. So if they are able to, they can get out of their chairs, they can climb up. There's a log stepping stone kind of climbing area that takes them into a secret space in the back. So really it's more for the brothers and the sisters that you know possibly have to take a bit of a back seat at times, but we have this little hidden area that you know they can talk and just speak to other people that are going through the same thing, and there's a hammock in there and things like that it's just a little cool space, and it's got a really funky slide so that they can slide their way out around the back, which is so good. When it arrived the other day, I was so chuffed, and everyone thought it was the wrong address, but I was like, no, it's for me. They've got this massive slide coming in.
Yeah.
Very excited about that.
I want to see Linda go down that.
I think it's going to be a photo opportunity.
Definitely.
How many people are going down that slide?
Yeah.
I was going to say, so there's no TVs and there's no water on glass screens or flashing coloured lights then? Like
well,
your
you
first
say
design.
that. Actually, there is going to be a TV and
Really?
there might be flashing lights. Just no water hitting the illuminous deck.
You
Let
let
one
me
for
down.
another day.
Because it's Greenfinger's 25th anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's for the that's amazing.
And they started at Gardener's World, so for them it's like a full circle journey. They kicked off there, and that was their first experience of a show. So it's nice for them to come back around and celebrate with us at Gardener's World.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Oh, I can't wait to see that. I need to get tickets for every show this year, I think, to come see them all now.
Do you know? I know it's there's so many events, aren't there? That there's so many things, and you don't want to miss anything. But I think it's impossible to go to them all.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Can't design a garden, everyone.
Yeah, it's not that easy, believe me. It's the travel time.
Come on, you've proven you can design a garden in 24 hours.
Well, do you know, I've got to say, Drew, who looks after all my my kind of graphics and my website, social media, and much more, he's on it. I can see him posting at the moment.
I was going to say he's been in the comments putting all the web links in.
He shouts at me because he has access to my diary, and he says, you know, did you actually filter in any sleep time or kind of travel time between these events? And I'm like, no, it'll be fine because it'll be fine.
It's fine.
Mark, my comments aren't working as usual. I don't know if anybody's had any questions or anything for Pip.
I'll have a look.
9 times out of 10, for some reason, my comments stop working. That's it. I read the first 3 or 4, and that's it. So, yeah.
You're probably sick of me talking by now.
No, don't be silly. Been brilliant, absolutely amazing. Lots of people saying the gardens were all amazing last year. One at Woodley End was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. You forget that so many people see them. I'm too engrossed.
I need to go back and because you do see if you do. I think I've done 4 or 5 different shows last year. They all you forget who's a who's because there's so many of them. Yeah. So I definitely need to go back and have a look and refresh my memory at all yours. And 3 or 4.
It's like back in the day. I used to remember back in 2004 at Chelsea, so and so did this, and I could remember them, but now I can barely remember my own.
Disappears into
but you can. It's very good. You can remember what you did that year. So if someone says, "Oh, when did so and so get married?" I'm like, well, that was when we did this, and that I had that frock on, and that. So it was 2007.
Yeah, association with something which is that big in your year. You do remember things. That's like no different than if there's a music quiz on the radio. You can hear it. You think, "I remember that," and that was the same time as doing that and that, and you get the year. It's exactly that. Well, Pippa, it's been absolutely amazing. You're not off the hook yet because Mark Ed's got a lightning round of questions for you.
Oh,
Quick
okay.
fire, bang, bang, bang.
Okay. Oh, there's nothing rude in there, is there? That I might just answer quickly.
There's
Depends
only
how
been one rude.
you turn the question.
I was going to say there's only been one rude thing on here, and that was when Harry met Sally earlier.
Right, first question. Favourite band or artist?
Elbow at the moment.
Elbow.
Yeah,
Never heard.
that was the last person I went to
that.
see anyway.
Good choice. I was going to say, I went to see Adam Frost live a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how he uses music when he's designing gardens. So he'll listen to like a specific album, and then that album will like help him to design, which I thought was really interesting. With a way of a different process, because he's really interested.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really interesting. I just listen to absolutely things that would drive everyone else mad. Loads of 80s, 80s and 70s.
Nothing wrong with that.
Definitely not. Next one, tea or coffee?
Gallons of it.
Simple.
Oh yes, just tap it in through the vein.
Flowers or edibles?
Flowers.
It's gotta be. It's your main thing in life. Beach or forest?
I don't know. I quite like the beach, to be honest. Yeah.
Nice, relaxing, calm.
Yeah. Being by the water.
Yeah. What's your go-to emoji in a text message?
The laughing one. Every other word.
Yeah, mine's like that.
Definitely. If you could have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Crisps.
Great.
Probably.
Okay.
Any specific flavour?
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Really strong vinegar. I love them when they're really strong. They almost burn your tongue.
Oh yeah, I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
Oh. I don't know. Having a day off, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. That's bad, isn't it? Every day is a perfect day. What can I say?
Exactly. You do what you love. That's it.
Yeah.
Next one. Sowing seeds or planting out?
Probably planting out.
Yeah, it's more your thing.
Yeah.
Doing the
A bit
garden.
more finished. Yeah.
Spring or summer?
Summer.
Summer.
Yeah. So much choice.
When all the show gardens
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's favourite plant?
At the moment, probably looking out the window would be Amelanchier.
Amelanchier.
Yeah.
Of course, they are looking absolutely stunning at the moment.
I've got one of them.
I've
got one.
Just so lovely.
It's beautiful. Unlimited compost or unlimited seeds? Or you can have unlimited plants, considering.
It probably would be plants. Yeah. I do run out of compost a lot.
I bet you do. If you could choose one plant to describe.
Sorry, yeah.
You did, yeah.
If you could choose one plant to describe yourself, what would it be?
I don't know. Oh, that's hard. I don't know, but it'd probably have to be perennial because I think I probably do wither up a little bit in the winter, to be honest. I'm tired by then.
I'm not surprised.
Don't know. I like echinaceas. I really got a real thing for echinaceas.
Yeah. Nice. A favourite in a show garden as well. They tend to always crop up somewhere. So it's a good choice. What's your favourite weed?
Don't know.
You can decide what.
Oh, I know. Well, some people class it as a weed. Is it? I've forgotten how you pronounce it now. Celeria, mind your own business.
Oh yeah.
I actually quite like that around stepping stones, or to replace grass. I quite like that as a strip where it can take a bit of a hammering if you walk on it, and yeah, I quite like the mossy, spongy effect.
Almost Japanese.
Yeah.
Cool. Final one. What would you want your gardening legacy to be?
I don't know. Oh God, don't know. I think my legacy is just she never says no. To be honest, I can't. Nothing else springs to mind. Oh, I don't know. These are tough.
They are.
Oh,
Brilliant.
yeah, I'm not sure. No. Oh God, sorry, I'm not doing very well at these, am I?
No, it's fine. No, brilliant. That's it. You're off the hook. You can breathe.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
No,
It's been a lovely
thank
chat.
you, Pepper. It's been really, really good. Really enjoyable.
Oh,
And
thank you.
can't wait to come and meet you at one of the shows.
Yeah, please do definitely come and say hello to me.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Excellent. Two of the shows, that's for sure. That's the dog.
Oh, yeah, I better go and see to mine. But thank you so much for having me.
Thanks ever so much, Pip.
All right, then.
See you later.
You.
Bye. My God, how busy is she?
I cannot believe how many, considering people we know that have done show gardens are like, no, never again.
Yeah.
She's just like, how many shows are there? Yeah, I'll do one everyone.
Yeah. Wow. I suppose maybe, once you've done a few, it starts to come a bit more natural, possibly. And I suppose she does it for a living as well. So
I was going to say, she does it for a living, so it's just like,
yeah.
It's her bread and butter, isn't it? So she knows all the people, she knows where to get the plants from. So it's just, and she's not doing it for a client, so it's it's almost indulging in her own thing. Although she does do it for a client, she's got British Garden Centres and Green Fingers and all the rest of it. So, but it's probably less like personal than what it is in everyday life.
Yeah, it must be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Definitely going to go and have a look at as many as possible, and I'm going to go back on her grid in a bit and just remind myself of the gardens, because they do kind of, when you see so many over the year, they do kind of blend in a little bit, and then you go, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the Gardeners World Live one I can vividly remember, because obviously I was the other side of the road.
Oh, was it the one?
It was literally in front of
beds.
Yeah, next to Adam Frost.
Oh, of course.
My corner. So I literally watched that get built.
Yeah.
As I was on the other side helping Ben build his. So
yeah.
It's
I can remember there was did she have a chair made out of a big table rail?
Big circle.
With a cutout on it. Yeah, I remember now. See?
Yeah. And then like a greenhouse type thing, all made out of pallets. And all little nooks and crannies. And because she was on the corner, you could sort of walk
from
around
2 angles. Yeah, it's really good.
And like I said, I love all the details that she put in, and now we know where they all came from.
She's been hoarding.
Yeah, filling vans full and driving down the motorway.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Is there an earthquake in Lincoln?
Yeah,
everything just went. Well,
I've had enough.
That was really good.
Go inside.
Enjoyed that. Really, really good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
As always. And then next week we've got. Let me look in my diary.
I did look earlier, but I forgot. Is it Donna?
Yes, I think so. Donna Sutton.
Yes, and who is also doing a garden at Gardeners World Live.
It's going to get quite, every episode is going to be quite. There's lots going on now at show gardens and stuff, so we might have quite a few different designers on. and hearing from them.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Sorry, I haven't seen a single comment at all. The last one was Jenny Wren right at the beginning, so unfortunately I haven't seen what anybody's saying.
Only nice comments out there.
Of course, I'm sure. Right. It's 9 o'clock.
Right.
We're done.
9 o'clock.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
And
Look out later in the week for it as a podcast.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week.
Yep. See you later. Cheers, Mark.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.